All right, Carmelo, Asani, great to have both of you here on the Bloomberg set and to really talk about, I think, what for a lot of us has been something that we've noticed a lot of folks getting into, particularly with athletes and other celebrities, into wine.
Yes.
And I am curious, Carmelo, I mean, you kind of had a reputation when you were in the league as someone who favored wine, while a lot of your colleagues favored other types of liquor here. What drew you to wine in the first place?
I actually was just interested. Like, I just wanted to learn about the industry. I wanted to learn about what it takes to actually grow wine and what happens in the process. So I just started drinking the wine. And then I realized, look, I need to stop spending so much money on consuming this wine and figure out what is the right business model in this industry. So it took me a little bit of time to kind of figure the industry out and see where I wanted to open the door at.
Well, you partnered with Asani, and just looking at sort of the pedigree of this wine, I mean, this is like serious, like old world winemaking you're doing. You just didn't slap his name on a label and just try to sell it here. Just kind of explain exactly the region where these grapes are coming from and exactly the process that it went through.
Yes, great question. So I think a lot of people from within the Seventh Estate were a little shocked that we decided to partner with Robert Mondavi Winery. But ultimately, we wanted to produce a premium quality wine. And so we thought, what better way to do that than with one of the best and most traditional wine companies in the world. And so we had the opportunity to partner with them and then get our grapes from the To Kalon region. The To Kalon region has a great deal of soil, dried soil, and the way that the sun hits those grapes is able to develop what we get to taste in the bottle. And so that is one of the reasons why the price point is what it is, but also the process that we go through in creating what's in the bottle is so specific, and it's so specific to who we are as winemakers as well. And having the opportunity to have the guidance of Genevieve, who's the chief winemaker at Robert Mondavi Winery, was certainly an experience in and of itself to learn from one of the masters in the space.
I think everyone's curious, Carmelo, to understand your level of involvement. Did you choose the blend? Are you a lead taster here?
I am a lead taster.
Did you zero in on that pricing of, what, $275 a bottle?
So the pricing was out of my jurisdiction. I'm more of the, bring my palate, bring my smell, bring my innovation, to the room, whereas I just utilize the To Kalon, it is what it is. That portion of Napa, that vineyard is spectacular. So the reason I could just come in and just flow and just, because it's already there, right? And having somebody like Genevieve alongside us who's on the ground every single day, understanding what that soil is, what that region is. For me, I could just bring my innovation into the industry. So yes, I'm heavily involved from the beginning all the way to the end, where we also had a disagreement about 1% of Petit Verdot that we actually put in the wine. So
who won? Did you win?
We all won. I say we all won. We all won. It's a great wine.
Well done, well done. You mentioned, of course, that you were drinking wine and you thought, you know what, I have to stop spending money on this. But I'm curious about your time in New York and how that contributed to your education as a wine connoisseur. What was it about being in New York and and having access to all this great wine that really deepened your passion for fine wine?
What I said, I think you hit it right on the word, which was access. Right out in New York, I had access to people and collectors and people that was drinking these crazy wines and these wine clubs. So I had access to all of those people. So I always wanted to know, okay, if I can get into this circle, if I can appease to this circle, if I can bring wine to the dinner and I can make this, specific circle be like, this guy know what he's talking about. He's for real. Then I felt like I've proven myself. So it was just taking my time here in New York. And I will say New York actually helped me kind of broaden my horizon and think globally as far as the wine industry and the wine business goes.
Asani, talk a little bit about the marketing of this wine. Just a minute ago, we referenced the price point, and it is a higher price point. This is a premium product.
Yes.
How did you arrive that this was where it was going to be?
Well, I think the wonderful thing about our relationship with Constellation Brands and Robert Mondavi Winery specifically is that we were both bringing something very unique to the table. We have this innovation of tradition with Robert Mondavi Winery, and we have this creativity and Melo and I having ability to reach people in a different way. I definitely will say that we have some of the most exciting experiences when it comes to releasing our wine. For sure, we have a good time. That's part of the wine drinking experience, is what is the experience that we are bringing to the table. So for us, we really have leaned into the idea that when you drink our wine, we want it to be an experience, not just to taste it for the sake of having a glass, but what happens. And so for us, even in the naming of our wine, that was very important. Ode to Soul.
Talk about the naming of that wine here. I mean, this is a reference to a very famous Haitian general, basically someone responsible for the Haitian Revolution. I mean, you're not Haitian.
No.
You're Puerto Rican. I'm not sure what you are. How did you arrive on that? Why did you choose him?
Well, you're speaking of Oath of Fidelity with Toussaint.
Oh, yes.
Yes, so that was our 2017 Chateauneuf du Pape, which was exceptional, and it was well received by the community for sure. Ode to Soul was really a collaboration of all of us, both myself and Melo, as well as the Robert Mondavi team. We decided that we wanted this to be a wine that paid homage to history. And the history that means something to you. For us specifically, it's around wine, it's around our native people, it's around our ancestors. And so we are paying homage to those that came before us to open the doors for people who were coming next for us. And I know, Melo, you have a very specific point of view as well.
No, it's right on, right? It's that, you know, I'm a music guy, right? I love music. So when you hear Ode to Soul, it dances, right? And so it's a lot of similarities from, you know, the naming process is not something that we actually just come up with a name. Like, we really put thought into it. We really want to create content around it. We want to tell stories. And I think one of the most important things is the fact that we're able to engage communities, right? To create these actual experiences where we don't go out there and try to sell wine a traditional way. Like, we on Bloomberg. It's like, we doing it different because of the price point. But it's you know, what we do is we allow our community to experience those experiences, right? And we create these tastings and we create these moments to where people come in and they want to be a part of the story and a part of the community. And then the wine comes after that.
So it's about building community, but I want to talk a little bit about the community that you came from, which is the NBA community.
Yes.
You talk about how wine is truly a part of the NBA culture. What does that look like now? Can you give me an example of what that looks like now versus when you first started in the NBA?
Yeah, I can't tell you what it looks like today because I'm not in it, but I will say, you know, just years ago, right, you didn't see it. You didn't see it. You was laughed at for drinking wine, and especially as a 19, 20, 21, 22-year-old, you're not drinking wine, right? So you were kind of frowned upon, like, what you doing, man? You drinking wine? Why you drinking that? But then as you start going and the industry starts to change and it's more opportunities and more access and more resources, now people want to, you know, they want to explore. So now you see the NBA, where players now in the NBA feel comfortable enough to say, I have to have a glass of wine, or before I go to bed at night after a game, I drink a glass of wine. These are the individual experiences that NBA players are actually having, that now the top of that is kind of off, and now everybody is hearing about it. But before, it was always inclusive. It was always inside the NBA, and we always wanted to keep that to ourselves because we always felt like people would judge us, people would say things about us, oh, you're not playing well because you're drinking wine. So we kind of told the line, but now that lid is off of that.
Yeah. You have any friendly competition with some of the other players? I mean, D-Wade's got his own wine label, a few others. Do you just call them up and be like, yo, yours ain't $275?
Nah, we don't have those type of conversations, but it's more so like, how could we create the experience? Like, you have yours, you have yours, you have yours. How could we create an experience where everybody is a part of this community and engaging, and you get to sell your wine, I sell my wine, we get to taste wine, and we get to have a good time.
All right, well, it looks like an interesting business and an intriguing product. Ode to Soul, the latest release. Asani Swann, Carmelo Anthony, thanks to both of you for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.